We come on air tonight with a report we have been digging deeper into for months.
News 18 is breaking big stories in our community. First with the facts, first with the complete report.
This trial incident came to our attention following an open records request we made upon receiving an anonymous tip.
Spending months researching and finding the facts.
That leaves the question, what have public officials done about these complaints and allegations?
We set out to find out those answers.
Digging deeper and investigating local news that matters to you. We're Eau Claire's own News 18.
Multiple agencies across the state have taken a close look at the job performance of Eau Claire County District Attorney Gary King in light of allegations by co-workers and the county sheriff.
The allegations are serious enough that two former employees from the Eau Claire County District Attorney's office have contacted the governor, saying it's now clear that Gary King's actions should cost him his job. A move because King is an elected official only the governor can make.
Now, those allegations include that King was impaired while in court for a hearing on a murder case. And Sheriff Ron Kramer confirmed for us today that a different hearing was canceled earlier this week after King tested positive for alcohol during a breathalyzer test.
Also, sexual harassment allegations, which News 18 can confirm tonight, have been investigated and, according to public records, partially substantiated.
Now, District Attorney King remains in his position, although public records indicate he was instructed not to work alone with some county employees.
We also contacted King for his response to the allegations and developments, and today he responded, saying he cooperated fully with the investigation and has documentation in support of his position on the matter.
Now, due to Gary King's high-profile public office and the seriousness of these allegations, Keith and I, backed by the entire News 18 team, will be bringing you the whole story tonight. Now, up first tonight, we look into the allegations that King worked in court multiple times while impaired, one just this week and the other during the prosecution of a recent murder case.
The first incident allegedly happened February 16th, and it was detailed in a report to Human Resources from Eau Claire County Sheriff Ron Kramer the next day.
The second incident, Sheriff Kramer confirmed for us, happened on Tuesday and resulted in Judge Sarah Harless canceling a hearing. And just this afternoon, we got the reports documenting this incident, which I have in my hands.
Now, the first report was written by Captain Dave Rewestall and was given to Sheriff Kramer and the county administrator, Catherine Schaaf. Details are as follows. The sheriff's office was called to do a welfare check on King after he was seen being non-alert during 7:30 a.m. Zoom meeting.
Now, this is the video we received from the county on the meeting in question. You can see King's eyes are closed and he appears to be nodding off. According to the report, law enforcement spoke with King in his office at 10:30, and he said he had trouble sleeping the night before and hadn't had any coffee yet. They asked him to take a breathalyzer test, which King refused.
Now, a second report we received this afternoon was written by the bailiff working on Tuesday. He says that two judges, Sarah Harless and Michael Schumacher, both approached him separately that afternoon, asking them to keep an eye on King because of what had happened earlier in the day.
In this incident report, the bailiff details speaking with King before his 2:30 hearing and reported he smelled intoxicants on his breath. After sharing this information with Judge Harless, she ordered a preliminary breath test from King before she'd proceed with the hearing. And at 2:45, King submitted to the test, blowing a .047. Judge Harless was shown the results in her chambers and then in the courtroom noted on the record that the court proceeding was being adjourned for another date, though she shared no reason for that decision publicly.
Now, going back to that first incident, according to the report from Eau Claire County Sheriff Ron Kramer on February 17th to the County Human Resources Department, Kramer expressed concern about what happened in court the prior day. A bailiff notified him that King was acting very odd while in court. Sheriff Kramer's report to HR detailed that King wasn't wearing a mask and hugged the defense attorney. Kramer's letter recounted how Kramer spoke with King about his behavior and raised questions whether King had been drinking and was appearing in court under the influence. Kramer recounted that King started to cry and went on a rant about different things. Kramer said he and the undersheriff then confronted King to take a breathalyzer test, which Kramer says King refused to do.
Now, this trial incident came to our attention following an open records request we made upon receiving an anonymous tip that the county was looking into workplace sexual harassment allegations involving Gary King. Documents we received from the State Department of Administration show a female employee notified the County Human Resources Department about harassment concerns in February of this year. The woman said she was fearful of returning to work and interacting with King. A report compiled by the county outlines allegations that over the past 7 months, King harassed the female employee numerous times. The report showed that employees were asked to interrupt if King went into the woman's office and closed the door.
Now, a week later, on February 24th, the county administrator emailed King about the allegations. Her email, which the county included with the information disclosed to us in response to our open records request, directed King not to have one-on-one contact with any employees of the DA's office, the Victim Witness Coordinator's office, or the Office of Criminal Justice Collaborating Counsel.
The following week, on March 3rd, public records indicate that a lawyer with an outside law firm hired by the county to investigate the allegations questioned King. The lawyer reported that King denied or could not recall specific examples of inappropriate statements he was accused of making. The document, however, indicated that King did admit hugging the woman, kissing her cheek, and pulling her onto his lap. The outside counsel wrote that King denied being drunk at work, saying he indicated he was suffering from stress and lack of sleep.
On March 16th, the investigating lawyer issued her report, concluding that sexual harassment occurred even though King denied engaging in any wrongful conduct.
Now, those incidents and more are what drove two former longtime assistant district attorneys to send letters to Governor Tony Evers this week asking that King be removed from office.
Former ADAs Laura Lee Clark and Ellen Anderson shared their letters with us, expressing their view that officials should take action. In the letters to Governor Evers, Clark and Anderson accused King of the incidents recounted in the report to the county from its outside lawyers. Clark also claims in her letter that King habitually comes into the office under the influence of alcohol. Anderson says she too observed behaviors that raised concerns King was drunk and documents one incident in 2019. Clark detailed many incidents she personally observed of King sleeping in his office, in other people's offices, and during meetings with law enforcement.
Anderson claims King ordered that a child sexual assault charge be dismissed after the suspect's lawyer, who is King's friend, complained. Clark ends her letter to Governor Evers by saying, "I am utterly heartsick at the conditions under which my former colleagues are trying to work. This cannot be allowed to continue." And she says the integrity of the Eau Claire County District Attorney's Office is being destroyed. Clark retired last July after 33 years as a prosecutor. Anderson worked in the office for 9 years, resigning in February last year. She is now an assistant DA in Clark County.
Now, we spoke with the governor's office today and we're told it did receive Clark's letter and said they plan to follow up with Clark directly and will review her concerns.
As of now, no formal response from the governor's office to Clark's claims has come to us or to her.
Now, we did reach out to King today for his response. He could not be reached over the phone or in person for comment, but he did provide a written statement to us referring to the sexual harassment complaint filed in February.
In it, King writes he was, quote, made aware of a complaint regarding my conduct as district attorney. In response to the complaint, I have cooperated fully with the investigation into this matter. King goes on to write he was never, prior to the complaint, made aware of any concerns regarding his conduct. He goes on, quote, I have received hundreds of examples of feedback over the years from office staff regarding the office environment that I promote and my conduct in that environment.
So that leaves the question, what have public officials done about these complaints and allegations?
And remember, the first harassment complaint arose nearly 4 months ago.
Well, public records show the answer is not much. As reported, the county hired an independent law firm to handle the harassment investigation. In its report given to the county on March 16th, 4 recommendations were given to the county on how it could proceed.
First, forward the report and all the information the county has about the harassment complaint to the State Department of Administration. Public records show the county did do that. Now, the independent counsel's letter made these additional 3 recommendations. 1, send a letter to King to admonish his conduct. 2, contact the county's Employee Assistance Program, or EAP, to help set boundaries between King and the employee who made the harassment complaint to reestablish a working relationship. And 3, advise King to take necessary actions to leave personal issues at home and to conduct himself in a professional manner at work.
We followed up with the county and learned no letter of admonishment was sent, and we're told it does not exist. However, the county provided us a copy of the letter County Administrator Catherine Schaaf sent to King February 24th to avoid one-on-one with certain employees. A directive we confirmed still stood as of May 20th, nearly 3 months later.
As for the confirmation of any referral to EAP services, we were told that such matters are confidential. And the records we received from the county did not include documentation that it advised King about conducting future work in a professional manner.
Now, one possible explanation for the absence of some of these follow-up items came from Tim Sullivan from the County Office of Corporation Counsel. Sullivan told us that since King is an elected official and a state employee, quote, to my knowledge, is not supervised by anyone other than himself and the public.
Now, a lot of this left us with more questions than answers.
Who should be disciplining King for his behavior? Can he be removed from office? And if so, who can do it?
We set out to find out those answers, and Mary Pouch has them. Mary.
Yeah, Keith and Shannon, according to the Department of Administration, there's a couple different paths for removing a district attorney from office. The first is by the governor. To do that, a resident taxpayer of a sitting DA's county, which of course in this case is Eau Claire, has to submit written verified charges to the governor. When Evers receives a verified complaint, which the DOA says he did today, he can choose to appoint a commissioner to investigate and hold hearings to determine if there is sufficient cause to remove a district attorney. The other way to remove a DA from office would be through an election at the end of their term. King is not up for re-election until 2024, which means through this process, a different DA could not fill the seat until 2025. The last option is resignation, which district attorneys can do at any time. The DOA could not tell us how long the process of removal would take from start to finish. They say if a commissioner is appointed to investigate a complaint, they would set the timetable for the investigation.
Now, also tonight, News 18 has learned that the county administrator is now restricting King's access to the courthouse.
In response to our open records request, County Administrator Catherine Schaaf provided us with a copy of the letter sent to King on Monday. It informs King that he can only enter the courthouse during open hours by using a public entrance. If he goes to the second floor where his office and the courtrooms are located, he must go through the security checkpoint. The letter says his badge access to other areas of the courthouse has been restricted, deactivated.
In that letter, Schaaf says the decision was made after consulting with Eau Claire County judges and Sheriff Ron Kramer, who was responsible for courthouse security. News 18 also learned today that King will not be returning to his office for a while. The DA's office manager, Eric Hughes, says that King informed him he will be out of the office for the rest of this week and will be taking leave time for the next 2 weeks. Hughes says King's court cases are being reassigned to assistant DAs in the office. We have another update tonight on Eau Claire County District Attorney Gary King.
He has now hired a lawyer who today responded to yesterday's announcement that Governor Tony Evers will appoint a commissioner to examine allegations against King and report back to the governor.
Attorney Hal Harlow, a former Dane County District Attorney, will be representing King in this future proceeding. A press release from Harlow today reads, in part, for more than 10 years, Gary has served the Eau Claire community with distinction. We hope the public that Gary has served, including public officials, will not rush to judgment on incomplete information and will first allow the governor to reach a decision based on a deliberative and fair process.
And we've got a critical development in our coverage of embattled Eau Claire County District Attorney Gary King. Today, he announced his resignation. Keith Edwards, who's been following this story for the past month, joins us outside the county courthouse now with the details.
Shannon, in letters to his staff in the DA's office and to Governor Tony Evers, DA Gary King announced what he called the difficult decision to step down from his position effective August 14th. Now, as we at News 18 were the first to report, King stands accused of sexual harassment of an employee and of being under the influence of alcohol while on the job. In his letter to employees, King said his decision is in the best interest of the office and would allow the work of the office to continue without further distraction. In his letter to Governor Evers, King said it would not be possible to return to a productive work environment, given some of the statements that have been made and the manner in which he has been treated by various individuals. He also said he takes great issue with claims made by two of his former assistant district attorneys who have called on Governor Evers to remove King from office. King also said in his letter to the governor, in his words, to the extent that any conduct of mine fell short of the level expected of me, I sincerely apologize. Now, Shannon, we reached out to Eau Claire County Administrator Catherine Schaaf to get the county's response to King's announcement today. She said, based on the allegations, it was the right decision and the right thing to do to end the ongoing disruption to the work of the DA's office and the justice system.
All right, thanks, Keith. It's unclear why King chose August 14th as the effective date of his resignation. A source in the DA's office did tell News 18 he suspected the month would give King time to shift his caseload to other prosecutors.